evening, NBC. Good evening, good evening, good evening, Robin, Missy, Tisha, Sister Shirley, Sister Maddie. Good evening, Dr. Tatum.
Robert Jackson. Shy, what's up?
Good evening, Sandra Newkirk. Good evening to you.
Brother Sullivan.
Hillary, good evening. Mavis, good evening. Steve
Tisha Prince is on. Okay.
Good evening. Shirley Diggins. Good evening, Dr. Austin. Good evening to you all.
Krusty.
Good evening. Shy, Brother Sullivan, good evening. Katisha, good evening.
Hey, Easton.
Katrina, Christina, good evening to you.
Yeah, new name, Hill, new name. Hey, Simone.
Evening,
Cara. That sounds so country. Cara.
Come on in.
Hey, Mark.
Evening, Charles.
Okay, my screen's not showing in there. Okay.
Sister Donna, good evening.
Jada. Okay. We got kind of slow coming in here. Okay, come on. Anybody seen Alana? All right, for the chicken wings. All right. Murphy's, hey. Where is Reverend Guchon? I didn't see him. Okay. All right. I guess we can get started. We well on our way. We can see what the Lord has to say. First Lady Cousin in the house. Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, I hope my candy. Can you hear my candy? Let me know if y'all hear me eating these peppermints. I am crushing them. Okay. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. Well, unfortunately, you all did not receive announcements today. We are working on some technical issues with our website, so we weren't able to send announcements. But a few things I want to bring to your attention. On Sunday, we will have quarterly in-person traditional worship service. That's Sunday the 17th at the Hilton Garden Inn. Service will begin at 11 o'clock. The attire is Christmas sweaters, casual, and we will be taking
sweaters or sweatshirts.
We will be taking Christmas pictures. So make sure you are there for that. That will officially be our last in-person service until the beginning of March. So unfortunately, due to facility availability, we will not be at Barber Park on Sundays. That is for the months of January and February, as well as Christmas Eve. So make sure that you are that you like and follow
Mama Donna.
all of NBC's media pages, as well as Text Club, to make sure that you stay connected. Also, thank you to those of you who updated your information on the roster on Sunday. Some of you text me. I did receive that. So make sure that all of your information is current so that you're not missing anything that is being sent out from church communications. Amen?
Amen. What anybody talk? Where is Tasha Dunlap? Is she on? Okay. She wasn't feeling well. Checking on her. Okay. All right. I wonder, should I be checking on these people and saying their names over the World Wide Web? All right, my bad. I have to come up with nicknames or code numbers for you guys. Okay, we'll check on those. Praying for Devron. She's not feeling well. You know, you be strengthened. You got this. All right, I'm ready. Okay. I think that's all I'm missing.
Well, that concludes our midweek announcements. Turning it over to the pastor.
All right, pastor turned on to. All right, guys, let's get ready to delve into this word. Let us prepare ourselves for. Okay, I'm still reading, guys, making sure I didn't skip anything. Let us pray. Lord bless. Let's delve into Sunday's message. Just chop it down and see what we say. Sunday's message was entitled. See, I gotta turn my phone off because I'm getting texts. Sunday's message was entitled Curses versus Culture. Curses versus culture. And we talked about how when we call things curses, I think some of us have ideas in the head. Let's chop that up a little bit. When I say curses, what do you think of? Let's open the discussion up. When I say curses, what do you think of? Hey, Kelly, what do you think of? You think of South Carolina curses? Wow, you, Bing. Okay, okay. There she go. Tasha's on here. Amen. Okay, voodoo. That's good, Katrina. Negativity. That's good, Mavis. Bad juju. That's good, Simone. That's good. That's good. That's good. So what do you think of when you think of curses? So it sounds like some type of incant. Oh my God. Missy, that was Benita who said that. I like that, Stephen. Witchcraft. Witchcraft. Hey, Jazz. Okay, speaking evil or bad into someone's life. Okay, I like that, Phyllis. Okay, I like that. All right, all those are good. But some of those things, when you think about curses, you think about demonic things, you think about something that you don't want any part of. I want to open a discussion about how you curse yourself. Attach to something. That's good, Robin. That's good, oh. Okay, so I want to talk about how sometimes we have the ability to curse ourselves. Can you imagine that? So what we did was we took dark clouds. I like that, Cara. What we did, we took curse out the context and we're going to interchange it with the word culture. All right. And so how many of you recognize that there's some things you do in your culture that you don't know why you do them? How many of you know some things you do that you don't know why you do them? Why do you do some of the things you do? Hey, Carlos. Okay. Why do you do what you do? Okay. Maybe says, yeah. Okay. So I'm telling you, there are some things that are on us that you think, because you see around your family doing it, and you see that there's no prospering or there's no motivation and there's no manifestation of things. So you begin to think that that's a curse, when actuality it's not a curse, it's a part of your culture. And so when you get to moving in your culture and you find out that there's some things you're doing and you don't know why, but you're doing it because you've always doing it and you're doing it because you're used to doing it, I want you to consider tonight, I want us to talk about the new term for the summit this evening. I want to talk about blind practices. Okay, blind practices. Let's talk about it. Blind practices come under the umbrella. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, you get where I'm going. Let's talk about, what do you think blind practices are? What are blind practices based on those two words? Put it together. What are blind practices? Sunday we talked about being lazy. You know, actions done without thought or reason. I like that, Stephen. Good evening. Hey, Bernadette. Things we do without thought or reason. I like it. Come on, what are blind practices? Doing things without knowing why you're doing and why. Okay. Leaning, just following the leader. Okay. I like that. I like that he'll do something just to do it. I like it. I like it. I like that, Shy. Repeatedly doing so. I like that, Sister Katrina. Unconscious doings. I like untruths. Ooh. Okay, I like that. Cause my mom and them did it. Right. I like that, Missy. And so what we find ourselves doing is blind practicing. And blind practicing says it's something we've seen do. No one stopped us from doing it, so we continue to do it. No one's readdressing us, okay? And so if we're not being readdressed about some things, then it's usually acceptable. We talked about that the other week, okay? So sometimes we do things that people don't redirect us, then we continue to do it. Because anything you do over and over again, you're going to get better at it. All right. If you do something good over and over and over again, you get better at doing good things. But if you do something bad over and over again without redirection, you'll continue to do bad things, because you'll assume that since no one has redirected you, then it's appropriate thing. I want you to consider that's what a curse is. I want you to understand that you're participating in your own generational slavery. Because now let me tell you the reason why. The reason you're participating in it because you're under bondage, and under bondage means we're told all the time, you ask too many questions, you shouldn't talk so much. Talk to me if I'm talking to you right now. How many of you have been dispelled and expelled from rooms in your house or conversations because you had too many questions? Too many questions. Too many questions. So by the time we ask questions, yes, they kick you out. All you inquisitive children, yeah, those are another forms of bondage. And so when you try to figure out why you're doing what you're doing, or how come you're doing what you're doing, how come, I like that, why you're doing what you're doing, or trying to find or navigate your way through life, then you're questioned or you're expelled. Expelling a child who has questions is another form of bondage. Write that down. Yeah, it's in our people. It's in our people. And so no one is redirecting it because it's been in our culture for years. And so the bondage in not answering the questions is what it's saying is, I'm not looking for you to go any further than you already are. So what it does is it snuffs out progress. Let me know if you're getting this, because I'm trying to tell you this is. Thank you, Miss Hobbs. You testifying over here. I know that these things are happening in your household, and so what's happening is now we have blind practices. So now, if you have children, you use terms like "because I said so." Now, in actuality, it's not meant to hurt your feelings. What goes on with "I said so" is oftentimes parents are tired of asking questions and they've had a long day and they just want to relax. And you, why? Because you know a child can why you to death because we're inquisitive. And so by the time they don't have any answers and they're shushed or they're told to be quiet, then what does that do? It allows the repetition of bondage to continue. All right? Because no one say, don't say that to that baby. Let that baby ask questions. You know, hold on, I'm going to adjust myself. There you go. Let that baby ask questions. And so since no one is redirecting it, then you have your set of children. And the first thing you tell them, because I said so. I want you to testify, if you can. I want you to tell me if you've ever been told by one of your parents, because I said so. And wait a minute now, wait to the other part. Because I said so, and you genuinely really wanted to know the answer. You genuinely did. You really were inquisitive. You really wanted to know. And this happens, this happens a lot, and then it happens in your adulthood, you genuinely want to know. But when people don't want to assist you in knowledge is another form, hey, Lucinda, is another form of bondage. Because they're afraid of your ability to progress. You remember that's why they were enslaved in Egypt. They were enslaved because they didn't want any progression. They didn't want them to grow. They didn't want them to get stronger. So the less information you give me, then the more apt it is that I'll stay where you place me. Oh, does it sound like some of the pastors you sat under? Okay, I'm not being shady, but being shady. Yeah, because what it is it's another form of bondage. So when we're talking about curses, I want us to get that out of our minds, because it's not so much a curse. It's the fact that we just do things because it's how we've always done them. And so what we've done, we've been lulled into laziness. See, because it's easier just to do what you've always done than to use the energy to change. I see people all the time. They come by my office and they come into my area and they ask questions like, how can I do this? Look at what I've done. And they come with pictures and they've come with great ideas. And then I say, okay, that's good. Now we've identified some things. Let's go to another step. And so the more that I press them in the drop, so stop, drop, and roll, the more that I press them in the drop, the more angry they become, the more agitated that they become. Because what I'm doing is I'm asking them to participate in their own upcoming. People want slavery. Write that down. People want slavery. Yeah. And I know that sounds strange, but people want it. It's just easier that way. It's easier for you to tell me what to do. It's easier for me to just do what you tell me to do. But when given an opportunity to use your brains, we have been lulled. We have been lulled. You know? And so what bothers me about this is that once you are freed, then you have no skills. A prisoner by the name of John Perez, and I forgot what system he was in, but he was in the system since he was 17. He had been in prison for 21 years. They had to forcibly move him from prison because when the warden came and said, John, you're free. You can look it up. His name John Perez. John, you're free. He refused to leave. He refused to leave bondage. Can you imagine? Tell me why you think he refused to leave bondage. Why do you think? John Perez, 21 years in prison. He went in at 17. Why do you think they had to call the guards to physically remove him and throw him out of prison? Simone, good. He was uncomfortable, unfamiliar. The mama down couldn't function without direction, no clue what to do. Yeah. Familiar. Exactly. Why would you spend 21 years of being told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and now you have an opportunity to be free? Well, one of the things in this generational cultural thing I find out is we don't know how to be free. We don't know how, and no one's teaching freedom. Write that down. No, that's right, Kelly. He was afraid, and so this grown man left screaming and crying. Where the gang that he was in prisons had to come to him and say, "Hey, bro, you have to leave. You've been here long enough. You can do it." They had to encourage him, and he left crying like a baby, because you know what? We're not taught to be free. We're not taught how to live free. And so it's just easier for people to tell us what to do, and then we do it. And you know why that's easier? Because if it doesn't work out, then I have someone to blame. I have someone to blame because I only did what so-and-so told me to do. And that's why I don't tell folk what to do. You got to figure that out for yourself. You got to figure it out for yourself because it's important. That's right, Miss Hobbs. It's easy to stay with the unknown. And so Mr. Perez is loose from prison, and it's not that he didn't have a group home. They had everything set up, but he just refused. And so how many of you know what recidivism is? Recidivism, another word from the penal system. That means you go back. That's the same thing happened in Egypt. You see? Do you see? Can you see where I'm going? See, I don't want y'all to get stuck in Egypt and talk about, no, ain't nobody got me slaves. I'm not, we don't, and not in Jerusalem. We're not in Egypt. Man, I'm trying to get you to understand what's happening with your life, how it happens at work, how it happens in your family, how it happens in your church. And a church used to be a safe place, or should have been a safe place, but the same type of slavery is happening there, because what's happening is generational, and not all generations are coming from inside the womb, but now we have cultural slavery, all right, which people want to call curses. No, the cultural slavery is what I've learned, and I said Sunday, you know, if your child sees whoredom and sees his mom as practicing whoredom, well, what else is that child going to practice? It's cultural. And so John Perez is sitting there crying on the curb because this grown man, because he doesn't know what to do. I don't know how to be free. It is my premise tonight that the church is keeping us bound and we don't know how to be free. But it clearly says that there's freedom in the word. So if we dissect the words well, then we'll be able to free the people. Do you all understand that? You understand how generational curse, slavery turned into cultural slavery, and the fact why we got comfortable with the bondage, and we got comfortable with the bondage because it's just easier, and we're lazy. Because if we want something different, then we're looking for someone to give us something different, and that's not how this thing works. Now, I'm going to take you to the scripture, but we work in the same 2-3 lines. You guys got to understand it. You got to see it. You've got to see it. We're working Exodus 1, we're working Exodus 13, and we're working Numbers 11. All right, we're working them over and over and over again. And so what I'm trying to get you to see is the more you want to work on you, the harder it becomes because you're fighting against a multitude of others who are not working on them, which in turn tends to make you the bad guy. Okay, and so they see you as indifferent. They see you, oh, Merritt, she's such a rebel. I don't know how come I'm a rebel and you over there struggling. I'm the one living by faith. I don't understand that. I wanted something different. Okay, let's talk this for a moment. Anybody out there who thinks they're going against the norm, who right now in their life going against the norm? Anybody? Anybody think they're going against the norm? The norm of their families, the norm of their jobs, the norm of their social group. Like people always like, girl, you crazy, shaking your head. That's when you get those kind of responses. When they don't have answers to how you move it. What I'm saying to you is this, is those releases from bondage that are questioned because no one is asking the question, what's best for me? I love some chitlins. Oh my God. And I'm not saying that because they costing $50 a bucket and some of y'all trying to get me some for the holiday season. I'm not saying that. No pressure. No pressure. I'm saying that because I love them. I'm saying that I remember those type of meals and that type of food was looked down upon. So if it was looked down upon and it was scraps thrown away, why is it that they're costing so much now? I need you all to start looking at the trends and the trajectories of what's happening. The word I said Sunday, the trajectories. All right. Okay, let's look at fashion for a minute. I like a little bit of fashion. Do you remember wearing hand-me-downs? Talk to me, somebody. Simone, don't do that. Don't do that. Anybody? I was younger. I was bigger, so I couldn't do too many hand-me-downs. Okay, so tell me that I should have been hand-me-ups because they can. So tell me this. How many of you remember hand-me-downs? Okay, now what are hand-me-downs? Hand-me-downs are clothes that your older siblings might have worn, and there's nothing too wrong with them, so you wear them. How many of you got hand-me-downs and hated them? How many of you got hand-me-downs and hated them? Okay. Because we always thought, why don't I get new clothes? Because hand-me-down. Now, how many of you know in fashion, the most fashionable clothes out now are what? They mimic what? Hand-me-downs. Look at the trajectory. They mimic patched up clothes. They mimic things with paint on it. They mimic ripped up things. They mimic, and then they charge you $700 for a pair of jeans ripped up. Do you understand what's happening here? Are you understanding that those things, if you would have been strong enough and if you'd have been free enough, those could have been your ideas? Hey, I wore those when I was 8. I wore those when I was 19. I wore those when I was... It's crazy out here. So now the fashion world is capitalized on the fashion of a slave. Oh my God. I need you all to recognize that don't be afraid to break that glass ceiling. Don't be afraid to go for what you know. Don't be afraid to reach for the stars. I'm telling you, you're going to meet with some opposition. You're going to meet with some opposition, but you got to be grounded in yourself. Let me say, when you say, Pastor, how you do? First of all, you got to be in touch with you. First of all, you got to understand who you are. Some of you trying to be somebody else. Don't tell me about somebody else. You know what I don't like? I don't like when I'm talking to you and you tell me what you've read. I don't give a damn. We're talking about you. We're talking about, oh, I'm sorry, Juanita Bynum said that spirit of cursing. Anyway, what I'm trying to get you to understand is what is it is best for you? Can you tell me what's best for you? Don't tell me what you've read. Don't tell me the documentary. Don't tell me what preacher you listen to. Don't tell me any of that. I'm just to get you started on a journey to figure out what's best for you. And there's only way to figure out what's best for you by you working the system. You working your system. What's best for me? And sometimes what we've been doing in our cultures have not always been best for us. Okay, let's talk about this. Why do we have to eat everything that's on our plate before we get up from the table? What's that? Why is it that dessert was a highlight and a reward? Oh my God. Come on now. I'm trying to help y'all think about some things now. I'm thinking about we've been bound by things because they were trajectories and treasures of the past. Baby said, Missy said, because Mama said so. Charlotte said, because you better. Okay, so what was that all about? What if you were full, but still had some things on the plate? Can we talk about that? Scarcity mindset. That's good, Hill. That's good. And so what we're taught to do is devour everything because you may not get nothing else. The devil is a lie. Do you understand what I'm telling you? The devil is a lie. Just like he provided that, he'll provide others. That's what we're missing, the freedom of faith. We're missing the freedom of faith, and so we start to scarf down everything. And then what they throw in, candy and dessert as a reward. Now I'm sitting up here fat. Come on, just laugh at me, touch me. You don't want to touch me? Jess is not with me today because she's mad. Why? She don't like me. Like, okay, shut down. I just don't want to talk to Jess. She starts talk to me, Jess. I'm not gonna go until you talk to him. You're just not gonna talk to him. Well, she's not gonna talk to him, everybody. So this is where we are. My engineer has shut down. She's just shut down on me. I'm not a learned woman. What we have is people telling us and using techniques that they used back then to keep us in order and in line. Do y'all understand that? Do y'all need to be in line? Stephen, yeah, he may need to be in line. Hey, Jessica, he needs to be in line. What is it about? Was that good for you? Is the system of sweets as a reward good for you? Did that help you? Eating everything on your plate, was that okay for you? Did that work for you? How many of you sat at the table and cried? How many of you ever sat at the table and cried? Because you weren't finished and you wanted to get up and you couldn't get up until you finished. Bondage. Now that you're an adult, have you changed your way of thought? Have you changed how you think about things? Are these the same systems that you employ, these cultural systems? Are these the same systems that you employ with your children or the children that you are in care of or over? I need to know. I need you to know and go down everything that you do. Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? Why is this good for me? Why do I have to do that? Mrs. Hobbs said, her mom stood up for her face. Kids are starving in Africa. How many of you ever heard that one? Y'all may not be old enough. My mama used that one too. And look at me now, I'm fat. Maybe I was full. I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? But now that I'm an adult, you've got to figure out as you go along, when you have the ability to be freed or be loose, you've got to understand. It's just like being in Egypt. The reason God couldn't release you, immediately take you to somewhere else is because he knew that you would come back. And so what I need you to figure out is, first of all, am I strong enough? Am I strong enough to stay out once I get out? Because see, sometimes we can fool ourselves to get out. I'm just talking about it. We can fool ourselves to get out. But are you strong enough to stay out once you're out? What are too many questions at a time. I'll slow down. What are some of the things that took you back when you've made progress? Can we talk about that? Let's talk about that just for a moment. And I'll take you to a scripture if you feel you got to see the word. But I want to talk about those bondages, those practices. What are the practices that you freed yourself from, but you didn't maintain them? What are those? Okay, Jess says, now that's the question. Am I strong enough once I get out? Are you strong enough? Hey, Kiati, are you strong enough to stay out? That's what the concern was. That's why God says, I got to take you the roundabout. Because as soon as you meet with some adversity, as soon as you're going to go back to familiarity. That's right, Missy. You're going to go back because it's easier. And being free, you ready for this one? Take some strength. Whew. And ain't nobody teaching that. They just pray to God. But if you don't trust God, then your prayers are futile. It's the prayers of the righteous that availeth much. The righteous are those who believe, are committed. They availeth much, not just for somebody saying the word. Are you strong enough? Are you being fed the right nutrients? Are you sitting at the feet of those who are working on themselves and hold you accountable to work on yourself? Are you strong enough for that? Or are you just like, it's like the first thing that people give up is the church. I'm tired and I only get to sleep one day a week. And now we on live. And so nobody's coming into the churches like they used to because they pick and choose the word they want to hear and how they hear it. And for some reason, don't get me wrong, I don't think maybe you can be every Sunday the same place every time, but I'm thinking it says in the word of God not to forsake the assembly. So if I don't forsake, so what am I doing? I'm just going to lay in bed. But there are other things that come along with gathering together as believers. And so now what we do is we give up the church. We give up the church. The first thing something going on, I'm sleepy. And then one Sunday gets easier for 2 Sundays. 2 Sundays gets easier for 3 Sundays. But let something happen. Let you get hungry. Let you want your gas on. Let you want your lights turned back on. Christmas, come on, get you 4 or 5 turkeys in 4 or 5 different locations. So where is the consciousness of, is this best for me? Do you feel okay after you do stuff like that? Do you have a consciousness? See, that consciousness goes along with the freedom. Am I giving y'all too much tonight? Because I'm trying to get you to understand why you're not going anywhere, why there's no progression, because you're not adding these things up. So what you're doing is what you've always done. And that's not a curse. It's laziness. Just pure laziness. Just pure laziness. That's right, Miss Hobbs. Going home for the holiday. All those things. All those things you just have to watch. I'm thinking that we have to dispel some of those practices. Okay, those are blind practices. Type in your chat, dispel blind practices. Doing them and don't know why you're doing stuff. That's the first stop. Why am I doing this? Okay, can I ask you something? And we talked about it. That's right, Mr. Ford. We talked about it before. How many of you know that little thing in the den that's got a tablecloth over it and a TV sitting on it? This is old days. It's a freezer, another freezer. How many of you still got freezers and with frostbitten meat in it? That's that fear of scarcity that God will not, he's not going to supply. So I've got to hoard all this stuff. And so you got last year's turkey giveaway. Oh, come on now. I don't mean to be stepping on your toes, but I know I'm talking to you. And those are the things of bondage. Do you need the turkey really? Do you? Those are questions you ask yourself. Stop. Were they giving away down at the church? Stop. So do you go down there to get the turkey or do you go down there to help give turkeys away? Well, at the end of the giveaway, they had some turkeys like, why'd you take a turkey if you don't need the turkey? Because of our mindset. That's that slavery mindset, the scarcity. One of the things that keep us in bondage as well, when we go to gatherings, is we want to dispel phrases like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because that's just kind of lazy. But there might be a new innovative way to do it better. Start thinking. Then we have to dispel and stop going to churches where they're using words from the Bible you don't know what they mean. That's another form of bondage. You don't know what the Samuel they're talking about. You don't know what, but you look at people who you love, they, yeah, they shouting in rhythm, they, pastor, but you don't know what, and then you're afraid to ask because everybody is practicing the same foolishness. Ooh, you're lazy. When you are being taught or ministered to, you should know what folk are saying. You make me crazy. You should know what folk are saying. And you should know what folk are saying because there's a freedom in it. And then you can interpret it when you have a relationship with God, how you need to interpret it. So it frees you from being comfortable with relying on the pastor to tell you what you need to do with your life. See, I'm held accountable to share this information, to disseminate this information, and to rightly divide. So I must stay read up and prayed up. I pray that the Lord is using me. So then I can help you reach that same freedom, and then you can work on that in your home. I cannot pastor your family as head of household. Okay, you choose that. That's a choice. You choose who you want to be named by. You choose who you give that title to. So once you do that, that's another form of connection. Then if it's not healthy, then it comes another form of bondage. Is this too much? Okay, I'm gonna be here I'm gonna see you for a while. I'm gonna wait. Let's go through it again. Cultural bondage is when no one redirects you to something else. Write that down. Cultural bondage is when no one redirects you to somewhere else. And no one's often redirecting because they have not given thought to, is this what's best for me? So I believe that some of you all have recognized, that's right, Benita, another said in their ways. Some of you have recognized some things are not good. Some things have recognized this is not good. So what do you do once you realize something's not good for you? What do you do when you realize something is not good for you? What do you do? When you come to the realization, Phyllis says, I avoid it. Okay. When something's not good for you, you avoid it. Okay. Okay. Maybe say, I walk away from it. Okay. Okay. So I kind of like that. But what I'm dealing with is I like the solitude and the isolation of moving away from it or stop doing it. But then I want you to, that's the identification. You've identified that this is not good for me. I'm gonna work this system. Y'all gonna get this. I don't care if I'm preaching this in 2025. You realize that the identification is you've realized that it's not good for you. Okay, you realize that. All right, Charlotte, that girl's at Purge. So identification is stopped. So I realize it's not. So now what do I do next? What's my second step? So I don't want to always avoid. I don't want to always avoid. Because see, that's another form of bondage. Do you understand? So if I don't address it, then I'm under another level of bondage. So now let's talk. Let's talk for real. What do you do? Find something else. Ooh. No, that you find something else, you're already at roll. That's action. Can't go to action because you'll always do what you've always done. Or you'll just take it to another place. See, I may only like orange candy. And then all of a sudden say, I ain't eating orange candy no more. So then I go to grape candy. So I haven't done anything but change the flavor. I got the same situation. I got the same issue. Okay, so you got to stop, and then you got to drop. The drop is the self-evaluation that takes a long time, that takes the hard work. Churches are not teaching you all to drop. The clubs are teaching you to drop more than the club. You stay there for a while. What do I do next? So what I have to do is, I'm going to help you out because we don't have a lot of time. I've got to figure out why now that is not good for me. See, I've got to figure out why. I got to go, why is that not good for me? Why did all of a sudden, I used to like orange candy all this time. Why all of a sudden don't like orange candy? Sometimes you got to give a little thought to yourself. Wait a minute, I've been eating orange candy since I was 4. Why am I sitting in that? I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but I need to think about this. I've been doing this all this long, and all of a sudden, am I just tired of it? What's it? Is it making me nauseous? See, look at that thought processing. And what that does is has nothing to do with anybody but you and that thing. Identification, understanding. Why? Why did it make me nauseous? It's a person. I'll try to explain to them what their needs are and why I'm leaving and then walk away. Okay. All right. I've got to figure out now. Now I've got to identify why it's not good for me. Why isn't it good for you? I don't like how it makes me feel. Okay, go one step further. What do you feel that you don't like? The hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Okay, now we're at another level. Why do you think the hair on the back of your neck is standing up? See, that's the work you got to put in. That's the freedom in knowing Christ. That's that walk. That's that walk. And that has to be done. You ready for this? With everything you do. Before you want to share your life with somebody, before you want to come Mr. or Mrs. something else, you got a lot of self-work to do. Because you're under your own bondages. So the slavery of his culture may be different from the slavery of your culture. And so now you're trying to bind the two. But before then, I want to be healthy for me. And so what I want you to understand is, I don't mess around with folk who are not working on themselves because they're dangerous. You see, they're dangerous because they'll do whatever and they don't care who it hurts. I don't do that. I don't do that. I immediately identify, I don't like that spirit. And I'm not trying to put anything on anybody. I just know what it makes me feel like. And then without causing any concern to you, I begin then to maneuver how to make myself as safe as possible in reference to positive things, positive vibes. You know what I'm saying? I need to be healthy. I don't want to be overwhelmed with drama that's not mine. Oh my God. Thank you, Kiati. And what I have to do is then always ask myself, why all of a sudden I've been eating orange candy for a long time. And then you talk to God. God, I know my mama would turn over in her grave if she knew I was talking to you about orange candy. But because you are my daddy, and you told me I could come to you with anything and anytime I wanted, can you help me understand this orange candy thing? Can you help me understand? Can you take me on a journey? Something as small as that. Something as small. We have to stop sweeping things under the rug. We have to stop acting like this is not happening. It's happening. And you need to address it. Or what you'll continue to do is you'll be operating under blind practices. And so just because now there's a big bowl of orange candy that they brought out for you because you're coming home for Christmas, and they say, we got your orange candy, and you say, oh no, I don't eat that anymore. And then they are offended. Oh my God. See, and so then what you do, because you're not strong enough, you eat that orange candy that makes you sick. That's why he couldn't take you out so soon. Because you're not strong enough to say, I've identified some things. And I find out that sometimes I itch after I eat, the citrus or the fake. Show them that you've invested in you. I'm not doing it, and I'm not going to do it. I don't care if you got a 50-gallon bucket of orange candy. It's not what's best for me. because it's about me. I'm free. I'm offering you all that. I'm offering you all that freedom right now. I'm offering you to get in touch with you and God. I'm offering you that. I'm offering you that so you'll understand how to move through this system here called the Bible. And I found out it really was written with me in mind. But I was always too scared to read it because I always thought if I read it, if I didn't read it, I would have a better chance of not going to hell. Because I could always tell them, I didn't know that, God. Because the Bible was scary. Because all those words I didn't understand. Those are those words and catchphrases that keep us bound. Now you've got everybody who made efforts. You ready for this one? This is for you, Dr. Austin. Everybody who made efforts to have a bowl of orange candy for you, and now you're feeling bad. Come on now. I'm not talking about it because you appreciate their efforts. And that's what you say. Oh my God. I really do appreciate you all for thinking about me. I am humbled and honored that you did that. But this is not good for me anymore. Yeah. And if they can't receive that, there's nothing else you can do about it. I can't worry about it. I don't want to beg them to tell them what's best for me. It's not good for me. I no longer want to sit across the table from my assailant. But I can understand why you all invited him. Because you don't want to tell him he's a rapist. You don't want to say stuff like that. So you become understanding and you understand. And you use that thing, that Paul thing, that Pauline letter style. You be very kind in the beginning. But if they keep pushing you, you give them the 411, the 911, and the skinny. You lay it out for them. The process is, I'm honored, but this is no longer good for me. It's like going back to a class reunion and people remind you what you used to do in high school. Why is that? I may not be as proud of what I did in high school right now. Well, watch what you receive. Watch what people say. Hear what they're really saying. And then step back and say, trust your relationship with God. Why did that make me feel that way? Have you ever felt something and you have not identified it? Let's talk about that. That's another form of bondage. The devil wants you to just, forget it. Just go on. See, that's forgetting that roll, that drop. Oh, go on is the role. That's the activity. I can't go on till I identify what I'm feeling. I need to, why am I sad? Why did seeing that picture make me sad? And then you laugh it off and you just go on. Don't laugh it off. Figure it out. Why is it when certain people enter the room, you feel some kind of way? Why is it if your heart is right, your mind is right, why don't you just release it? Because it's best for you. It's just best for me. And I don't want to involve you and pressure you in being around me when I'm working on what's best for me. Because I may be a little different. And I understand that you all are used to A, B, C, and D. But I've got to figure some things out. You see the pleasantry on my face? This step of drop is not going to happen in a week and a half. It's not going to happen in a week and a half because you don't know who you are. Because you know yourself as a slave, but do you know yourself as a human being? You can identify some things as a slave, but can you identify as a human being? Are you strong enough to roll? Are you strong enough just to go on? And you wonder, why am I doing the same? Why do I pick the same type of things? Because you haven't dropped. You've identified it. I always pick those kind. I always pick those kind of jobs. I always stop. You're good at identifying. My people are awesome at identifying. Yeah, I can't eat ice cream because it gives me the bloodage. You've identified. So I guess I'll just have But do you realize now in purging and doing some investigation, there are other delights that taste like ice cream that are dairy. You see what I'm saying? See the work you put in? You found something that I don't have to give up the flavor. I don't have to give up the taste, but I've investigated some things and found something that's just as tasty. Y'all not working hard enough for me. You're looking for me to give you answers, and I ain't giving you nothing. Thinking, not giving. Hey, thank you for my gifts, and keep it coming. Yeah, thank you so much. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Do you understand? It is not a curse. You're just lazy. Yeah. The practices. The practices are just so much easier. It's so much easier. Do you realize how far you could go? Do you realize how far you could go? Okay. All right. I just want to know. Now I'm going to take you to a little word because it'll make you feel better. Make you think you've been to the summit. Let's go to Numbers 11. Let's go to Numbers 11. Let's see one I can pick that can go straight to it, that we stayed there a long time. And we can go from there. Let's go from 18 again. Do I want to go to 18? Let me see if I want to work it differently. Let's just go to 18. No, let me go somewhere else. How many of you read Numbers 11 in its entirety? Hey, Nicholas, how many of you read it's in its entirety? How many of you read it? Okay, you should read 11 in its entirety, because in the beginning, Moses has a struggle. Moses has a struggle with his assignment. And then he gets scared because he hears the people talking, and he's like, oh man, God. Then he starts doing the same thing that God said the people would do. Why'd you do this to me? Just kill me. Oh, really? Just kill me. All these people you got me over. I can't do it. Just kill me. If God takes you to it, he'll take you through it because it's an assignment. So it's not of your own fortitude. Here we find out that God said, you guys got to have to work on you. Tell the people to consecrate themselves. Tell the people to purify. Tell the people to work. Purge. Tell the people, verse 18. Tell the people to purify in preparation. Let me repeat myself. Tell the people to purify in preparation. I'm in the NIV. What's it say in the King James? In King James, tell the people to consecrate. It says in the NIV. Let's see what it says in the King James. 18. It says sanctify. Okay, let's talk about that real quickly. This is the word. What does purify, sanctify, consecrate mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Purify, sanctify, consecrate. Because what he's saying is, okay, that's good, Simone. What he's saying is, prepare yourselves for what you ask for. Because I'm going to give it to you. This guy, God is scary to me. He says, prepare yourself. That's right, Jada. That's right. Prepare yourself. Get ready. So how to get ready? What does consecrate mean? What does that sanctify? What does that mean? That's good, Mama Donna. Okay. So it's the inward look of the relationship you share with him. Because what he's asking is like, you all are wailing and crying as if you don't think I have your best interest at hand. Oh my God. See, this is when I get scared, when I really understand what the text is saying. He says, okay, let me step back. So you all are wailing and crying, thinking that I have done you wrong by freeing you. Look, this is what he's saying. So now you got my boy Moses crying to me because he can't handle all your wailing. Okay, he says, okay, God is saying, okay, let me think now. You want, okay, it's not like you haven't eaten. It's not like I haven't supplied your needs. So now you have wants that you want me to supply. And so now you're murmuring and talking against me. He said, okay, so if this is the thing that you want, prepare yourself for your wants. And that's where identity, that's where who you are works right in there. He says, sanctify and prepare yourself, because I'm going to give you what you asked for, but it is my speculation. You can't handle it. Because I'm going to give it to you not one day. I'm not going to give it to you 2 days. I'm going to give it to you till you hate it. You are the Lord send me. God sent. Okay, prepare yourself for the things you ask for. Know why you ask for. Know what comes with it. Know what comes with this. Some of y'all in these prayers, do you know what comes with it? Because no one's holding you accountable for them. Oh my God, my time is up. I'm already over the limit. Do y'all understand? That's right, Carl. I mean, like, wow. We got to start understanding where this drop comes in. This is where we get closer to God. This is where we figure out, okay, God, this is what you're asking for me. This is what I can do. This is what you're going to do. And we become two minds meeting. Okay? And I want you to stop using that word curse, because I don't want you to know ain't nobody blowing dust on you. And if they are, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Look at them like they're crazy and rebuke them in the name of Jesus and going about your work on you. All right? But you need to figure out why you do what you do, why you want what you want. What does that mean? Have you always wanted it? This, and this? Am I doing it? And do I want it because somebody else has it? Does it really fit good on me? Or do I just want to flex? You know what I'm saying? I've learned that some things about that word here lately. So I want you all to do some work. And then guess what? I won't be here next week because we will be in live just worship, and we will be taking family photographs. But we will be at the Hilton Garden on 68, because that is our Christmas time. God has been good to us, and we come to celebrate his birth, because the gift was in Bethlehem. My time is up, and I really do appreciate you for spending yours with me. But guess what? I'll be back on those last 2 Sundays of the month virtually. We'll be here live. I keep saying live, but we'll be on the screen. I'll be like this. We won't be at Barber Park for 10 weeks because of governmental concerns about the facility. But I want you to know that I love you, madly. Can't wait to see you again. Love you, Mark. Love you, Mavis. Miss you, madly. Love you, Robin. Love you, Missy. Jazz, loving you. Mama Donna, love you. Hey, my time is up, and I thank you for spending yours with me. Bye-bye.